Hello guys, how are you today? So today I'll be explaining the math mini mock required questions from the previous past papers. So of course you can check them online. There's one question I'm not gonna do it. It's October-November paper 42, year 2022, question 9, because I feel it's really not the topic we're supposed to be having. So anyways, let us just start with the first question, which is question 23, May-June 2022, paper 22. So the diagram shows a solid metal shape made from a cone. This is our cone over here, and our hemisphere. Okay, so I'm just gonna call it hemi, as in hemisphere. Both of them have a radius of what? Of 6.2 centimeters. They said the total surface area, we will call it as total area surface, it is equal to 600 centimeter squared. Okay, they need us to find the slant height L of the cone, and they gave us two hints. First of all, the surface area of any sphere is 4 pi r squared, and the curved surface area of any cone is pi r times the slant height. Now, very simply, we have a hemisphere. So a hemisphere means half of a sphere. So if the area of surface of a sphere, so I'm just gonna write area of surface of a sphere, so like the circle means sphere, it is equal to 4 pi r squared. So then consequently, using logic, the surface area of a hemisphere is gonna be, sorry for the bad drawing, a hemisphere, it is gonna be 2 pi r squared. Why is that? Because you are dividing it by 2, you are cutting it in half. So this one, you don't cut it in half just like in general, you cut the general equation in half and you get 2 pi r squared, okay? So now we have the surface area of the hemisphere, which is 2 pi r squared, okay? Now, if it was a hemisphere by itself, okay, just a general fact. If it was a hemisphere by itself, you would take 2 pi r squared in addition to another pi r squared. Why? Because you have the surface area of the circle in the bottom. But since this is a cone, it is closed from here, so we're not gonna be taking the surface area of this circle. Okay, so now, we also know that the curved surface area of the cone, it is pi r times the slant height, which is L, okay? So what we could do now is we could form an equation. The total surface area, it is equal to the surface area of the cone plus the surface area of the hemisphere, but not all of the hemisphere, of course. And then formulating it as an equation, the total surface area we got before to be 600 centimeter squared, it is equal to the surface area of the cone, which is pi times the radius. We know the radius, it is what? It is 6.2 centimeters, okay? Times the slant height L that we need to find, in addition to the surface area of the hemisphere that we found over here to be 2 pi r squared. So 2 times pi times the radius, which is 6.2 squared. So if you make it as an equation and you solve it even further, you're gonna get 600 minus 2 pi times 6.2 squared. It is equal to what? It is equal to pi times 6.2 times the length, okay? So if you put on your calculator 600 minus 2 times pi times 6.2 squared, okay, you are gonna get approximately 358.5 centimeters squared. It is equal to what? It's equal to pi times 6.2 times the slant length. So then you are gonna divide it by, so you're gonna divide 358.5 divided by pi times 6.2, and you're gonna get that the length of the slant height, it is what? It is approximately 18.4, sorry if you cannot see it, The slant height L is approximately equal to 18.4 centimeters. Now that's it for the first question. We move on to the second question, which is a very relatively easy question. You just need to solve this. They told you to solve this equation and show all your working and give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. Very simply, you need to find the roots. To find the roots, we are going to be using the discriminant. So remember, discriminant, it is b squared minus 4ac. And to find the roots, okay, it is minus b plus or minus radical discriminant over 2a. All right? So over here, our b, it is minus 2. Let's just write that. A is 3, b is minus 2, and c is minus 10. So it is going to become x, which is the first root, x1, let's say, it is equal to minus 2 plus or minus, or because we put it as x1, let's say we only took plus, so minus 2 plus radical. Now we put the discriminant. Our discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, so it's gonna be minus 2 squared minus 4 times 3 times minus 10, so it is equal to 31. So minus 2 plus 31 over 2, which is times a, which is then 3. My apologies, I did a calculation mistake over here. It is not 31. Actually, it is 124. Okay, this is a mistake on my behalf. So, if you put it on the calculator, minus 2 plus radical 124 over 2 times 3, you are going to get an answer which is 1 plus radical 31 over 3. So this is the first root. So the first root is 1 plus radical 31 over 3. Now, you will see why if you put this answer, it is wrong. Let us do the second one. x2 is equal to minus 2 minus radical 124 over 2 times 3. So it's going to be 1 minus radical 31 over 3. Now, if you put these answers, you would get them wrong. Why? Because they need them to 2 decimal places. So on the calculator to 2 decimal places, this is going to be 2.19, and this is going to be minus 1.52. Okay, we move on to question number 11. The diagram shows a shape ABCD formed by the sectors of 2 circles with the same center O. Both sector angles are 140 degrees. OC is 3.2 centimeters and CB is 2.6 centimeters. The area of the shape is k pi centimeters squared. They need us to find the value of k. So very simply, they need the area of the shape k, not the area shape k, sorry. The area of this shape over here, the shaded region, if you want to say. So very simply, how could we find the area of the shaded region? It's very simply the area of the big sector minus the area of the small sector. Now the area of any sector is what? It is angle over 360 times pi times radius squared. So it's gonna be this minus this. Again, angle, not 2. This is angle over 360 times pi times r squared. So, since they need pi in the answer, you are not gonna be using pi on the calculator. You're just gonna leave it aside. Okay, now what we notice is that both sector angles are 140, meaning the big area has 140 over 360 times pi times its radius. Its radius is what? It is 2.6 plus 3.2, which is 5.8. Okay, so times 5.8 squared minus, again, 140 over 360 times pi times the radius, which is the smaller radius, which is 3.2 squared. Okay, so if you put them without pi on the calculator, for the first one, you are gonna get 5887 over 450 pi minus the second one, which is 896 over 225 pi. So after subtracting them on the calculator, you are gonna get 91 over 10 pi. And so they need the value of k. You can put it as 91/10 or very simply 9.1. Why? Because they told you k pi, they need the value of k, so you could take it as 9.1. We move on to question number 12. One solution of the equation ax squared plus b is equal to 181 is x is equal to 8. A and b are both positive integers greater than 1. So what is the value of b? Very simply, if x is 8, that means, let us say, a, okay? Then instead of x, you're gonna put 8. 8 squared plus b is equal to 181. So 64a plus b is equal to 181. Okay, and now since a and b are both positive integers greater than 1, we need to find the value of a and we also need to find the value of b. But we have to pay attention that they should be positive, meaning they are greater than 1. Alright, now there's no possible way to solve this, so that is why we can test or choose. So you could choose any letter to, like any number to be denoted to a. Let us say a is gonna be equal to 3. This works. Why? Because it is both positive integers greater than 1. Okay, let us see actually if that's the case. So before I say anything, let us see if a is equal to 3 will give us a value that is greater than 1 or less than 1. So let us see. And they both have to be positive integers, by the way. So it becomes 64 times 3 plus b is equal to 181. So 64 times 3 is 192. Plus b is equal to 181. Move it to the other side. You will get b to be a negative number. So definitely 3 is not an option. So we will go lower. We can choose 2. For example, integers means they are full numbers. So you could take 64 times 2 plus b is equal to 181. So 64 times 2 plus b is equal to 181. 64 times 2 is 128. 128 plus b is equal to 181. Move it to the other side. You will get that b is then 53. Now they said write down the other solution of the equation or the other so like you will have many ways to solve part B. A way I would do, they told us that x is what? X is equal to 8, okay? So, if x is equal to 8 and the equation is x squared and we substituted 8, we're gonna get 64. That means 64 is equal to x squared. That means x could be plus or minus 8. So the other answer could be minus 8, or it has to be minus 8. Or another way of doing it is just substituting. So you're gonna get 64, okay, times 2 plus 53 is equal to 181. Here you're gonna get, in both cases, 0 on both sides. But what you could do is you could take this equation and substitute all of the values instead of x. So it becomes 64 times 2 plus 53 is equal to ax squared plus b. We know that a is how much? It is 2, b is 53. So this and this will cancel and this will cancel, and you are left with 64 is equal to x squared. So you will get that x is plus or minus 8. You already chose plus 8, so the other answer is minus 8. Now this is question number 19. I think they were mistaken. So they need question number 19 part. Okay, so now for part B, which is actually 19b in the past papers. I don't know why they wrote it as 20b, but they need this. They need us to find the radius of the circle. They told us that the area of the major sector, which in this case is the shaded region, is 74.5 centimeter squared. Okay, so we know that the area of any sector is angle over 360 times pi times r squared. So in this case, it's equal to 74.5 centimeters squared. So it's gonna be the total angle, which is 360 minus 41. If we put it on the calculator, you are gonna get 319. So 319 over 360 times pi times r squared is equal to 74.5 centimeters squared. Then you do your calculation. So 74.5 over 319 over 360 times pi is equal to r squared. You're gonna get that r squared is equal to 26.761. You will round it. You will get approximately, we will take it as 26.8. We will take it like this. So then radius squared is equal to 26.8. We'll do radius is equal to radical 26.8. So on the calculator, radical 26.8, you are gonna get an answer that is approximately 5.17 or even closer 5.18. So either of these answers would work. Now we move on to the next category of past paper, which is paper 4. October-November paper 42. So here, of course, we have many parts. At a football club, season tickets are sold for seated areas and for standing areas. The cost of season tickets are in the ratio seated to standing 5:3. They need the cost of a season ticket for these. They told us that the cost of a season ticket for the standing area is $45. They need us to find the cost for a season ticket for the seated area. Very simply, 5:3. They said for the standing, which is the 3 ratio, it is 45. So 5:3, x to 45. Very simply now you can do cross multiplication. So it will become 5 times 45 over 3. You will then get an answer of $75, and that's pretty much it. We move on to question number 2. They said in 2021 the value of the team's players was $2.65 million. In 2022 the value decreased by 12%. They need us to find the value in 2022. Very simply, to find the value of decreasing, or like how much it decreased in 2022, what we are gonna do is we are gonna take the total, which is $2.65 million. Okay, we're gonna keep it as 2.65 because here the unit is million. All right, we're gonna multiply it by 1 minus what? Minus the percentage it is decreasing. If it's minus, it's decreasing. If it's plus, it's increasing. So in this case, it's decreasing. We're gonna put minus. So 1 minus the percentage it's decreasing, which is 12 over 100. So on the calculator, 2.65 times 1 minus 12 over 100, you're gonna get an answer which is approximately $2.332 million. Now we move on to question number 3, or part 3. The number of people at the football match is 1,455. This is 6.25% of the total number of people allowed in the stadium. We need to find the total number of people allowed in the stadium. Very simply, what they said, the total number, x, of people allowed in the stadium, okay, times 6.25 over 100, all right, it is equal to what? 1,455. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna bring this to the other side, so it becomes x is equal to 1,455 times 100 over 6.25. If you put it on the calculator, 1455 times 100 over 6.25, you're gonna get an answer which is 23,280 people, which is a big number of people, by the way. We move on to part 4. The average attendance increased exponentially by 4% each year for the 3 years from 2016 to 2019. In 2019, the average attendance was 1,631. They need us to find the average attendance for 2016. So what we need to know is that the number of students, initially we're gonna take it as x. So x multiplied by 1 which is total number of students, 1. And because it's an increase, we are going to do plus. 1 plus the percentage, but pay attention, it's exponentially, so we have to put an exponent. We're going to put n as the number of years. It is equal to y, which is the new average attendance. So in this case, x, we need to find it, times 1 plus 4 over 100 to the power of n. N is 2019 minus 2016, which is 3 years, is equal to y, which is 1631. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring this to the other side. So x is equal to 1631 over 1 plus 4 over 100 to the power of 3. If you put it on your calculator, you are gonna get an answer which is approximately 1,450 students. You have to take it as a rounded because you cannot have 0.5 of a student. You cannot have half a student. That's not logical. Okay? So we move on to part B. Another club sells season tickets for individuals and for families. In 2018, the number of season tickets sold in the ratio of families to individual is 2 to 7. Okay, keep this in mind. The number of family season ticket is sold is x. Write an expression in terms of x for the number of individual season tickets sold. So, family to individual is 2 to 7. So, family tickets sold is x. X to the number of seasonal tickets sold. But for who? For the individuals. So we need to find y. They are looking for y. So an expression in terms of x, okay? To find the number of individual season tickets sold, which is y, it is gonna be equal to the cross multiplication. So that is 7x over 2. So y is equal to 7x over 2. Very simply, this is what they're asking. Part 2. They said in 2019, the number of family season tickets sold increases by 12 and the number of individual season tickets sold decreases by 26. Complete the table by writing expressions in terms of x for the number of tickets sold each year. So, very simply, family tickets is x, individual tickets we found over here to be 7 over 2x or 7x over 2. Now, they said in 2019, the number of family season tickets increases by 12. So in this case, plus 12. So the number of family tickets is x. So it's going to be x plus 12. Okay. And then the seasonal tickets for individuals decreases by 26. So it's 7 over 2x minus 26. This is pretty much it. This we already did it. Now we move on to part 3. In part 3, they said in 2019, the number of individual season tickets sold is 3 times the number of family season tickets sold. Write an equation in terms of x or in x and solve it to find the number of family tickets sold in 2018. They said, first of all, in 2019, the number of individual tickets, let's go back, 2019, individual tickets, it is 7 over 2x minus 26. Okay, sold is equal to 3 times the number of family tickets sold is equal to 3 times x plus 12. Very simply, you're going to solve it. If you want a trick on your calculator, I don't know if you guys have it. So what you can do on your calculator is you could write the whole equation, 7 over 2. And then to get x, you're going to do alpha x minus 26. Okay, then you're going to do alpha. You're going to put the equal 3. Then you're going to put alpha, open brackets, x plus 12, close the brackets. And then you're going to do shift solve and you will get the value of x to be 124. This is one way to do it. Alright, or another way to do it is to solve it. So if you solve it, you are going to get 7 over 2x minus 26 equals 36 plus 26. So then move it to the, my bad, 36 plus 26. 36 plus 3x, my apologies. Okay, and then you move this here, move this there. You get 7 over 2x plus, no, not plus, minus, sorry. Minus 3x is equal to 36 plus 26. So then half x is equal to 62. So then you will get that x is 124. That's pretty much it. Okay, so now for question number 7. The diagram shows a container for storing grain. The cylinder is made from a hemisphere, a cone, and radius, each with 2 meters, and the height of the cylinder is 5.2 meters. They need us to calculate the volume of a hemisphere, given that the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay? So the volume of any hemisphere is the volume of a sphere divided by 2. So if you're gonna find the volume of a full sphere and then divided by 2, this works. So in this case, it's gonna be 4/3 pi times 2 to the power of 3 divided by 2. If you put it on your calculator, so 4/3 times 2 to the power of 3, you are gonna get 32/3. And then if you divide the answer by 3, you are gonna get, not by 3, sorry, by 2. If you divide the answer by 2, you are gonna get an answer of 16/3 pi. So very simply, the volume of the hemisphere is 16/3 pi. We move on to part 2. Okay, in part 2, they said the total volume of the container is 88 pi over 3 meter cubed. They need us to calculate the value of the height h, okay, with the radius r and whatever. Okay, what we need to know, first of all, is that the volume of the sphere, or the hemisphere, we already found it, okay? Now, the volume of a cylinder, it is pi r squared h. This is very important. And the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. Now, they told us that the total volume, we know that it's equal to the volume of the hemisphere plus the volume of the cylinder plus the volume of the cone. Cylinder, cone. Okay? So let us write down the volume of each. We found the volume of the hemisphere, it's 16/3 pi, plus the volume of the cylinder, which is pi r squared h, which in this case is going to be pi times 2 squared times the height, which is 5.2. So it is going to be 20.8 pi. So 20.8 pi. All right. And then we're going to add it to the volume of the cylinder. Not the cylinder, sorry, the cone. We know the volume of a cone, it is 1/3 times pi times the radius, which is 2 squared times the height h, which we need to find. All of it is equal to what? It is equal to 88 pi over 3. Okay? So then after solving a little bit, you are going to get that. So you will get that 88 pi over 3 is equal to 392/15 pi plus 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay, you're gonna move this to the other side, so you are gonna get 88/3 pi minus 392/15 pi, and you're gonna get an answer of 16/5 pi. So 16/5 pi, it is equal to 1/3 times pi times 2 squared times the height. Now to find the value of the height, you can first of all cancel pi and pi. You're going to be left with 16/5 is equal to 1/3 times 2 squared times the height. And so to find the value of the height, it becomes 16/5 divided by 1/3 times 2 squared. Okay? And you are going to get the answer of h, the height, to be 12/5. And that's pretty simply how you do it. Alright? Now, in part 3, they said, the container is full of grain. Grain is removed from the container at a rate of 35,000 kg per hour. Okay? 1 meter cubed of grain has a mass of 620 kg. They said calculate the time taken to empty the container. Give your answer in hours and minutes. So, as we know that the total volume of the container is what? It is 88/3 pi. Okay? And we know that the mass of each meter cubed of grain is 620 kg. So if 820 88 pi over 3 meter cubed times 620. This is going to give us the total mass, which is approximately 57.1, not 57 point, sorry, 57,135.09 kg, approximately this. Alright, so now we're going to take this total kg and divide it by the kg per hour that we have, which is 35,000. And we're going to get approximately 1.632 hours. So we know that it is 1 hour, but the 6.32 we cannot leave it. So we're going to take it as a decimal, 0.632 multiplied by 60 seconds. So then we will get it in minutes. So 0.632 times 60 seconds, you are going to get it approximately 38 minutes. So it's 1 hour and 38 minutes. Now we move on to part B. Okay, so part B of question 7. A and B are points on a circle. Center O, radius r centimeter. The area of the shaded segment is 65 centimeter squared. They need us to find the value of the radius. Very simply, we can find the area of the sector. We know the area of the sector is angle over 360 times pi times radius squared. Okay, but then this area of the sector minus the area of the triangle, which is sine radius times angle in between them, sine, so sine 140, it is going to give us 65 centimeter squared. Okay, so we have the angle to be 140, so it's 140 over 360 times pi times r squared minus r squared times sine 140. You could take as a common r squared. So if you take as a common r squared, you're going to be left with r squared, okay, outside, times 140, 360 times pi minus sine 140. If you do this by itself, you are going to get pi minus sine 140. You are going to get approximately 0.579. We're going to take it like this, okay? So radius squared times 0.579 is equal to 65 centimeter squared. So radius squared is now equal to 65 over 0.579, which is oh guys, I did a big mistake. Good thing I paid attention. So please don't forget that it is 1 over 2. So it's side times 1 over 2 sine the angle in between them. So if I did not pay attention to this mistake, I would have continued. Good thing I paid attention. Alright, so it's gonna be 140 over 360, yeah, times pi times minus 1 over 2 times sine 140. So now you're not going to get 0.579, you're going to get 0.9. Okay, so instead you can replace this by 0.9. Okay, so this is 0.9. So r squared is equal to 65 over 0.9. You put it on the calculator, you're going to get approximately 72.2. So r squared is equal to 72.2. So then r is equal to a radical 72.2, which is approximately 8.5. So the radius r is 8.5 centimeters. We move on to question number 4. I feel like this question is never going to end, but it's okay. They want us to find the angle x. Very simply, to find the angle x, what you're going to do is you're going to take the radius of the bottom circle over the radius of the slant height, or the bigger circle. So take it as a big circle. Okay, the radius of the bottom circle over the radius of the bigger circle. Okay, times 360 degrees. So 1.5 over 7.5 times 360, you're gonna get 72 degrees. So this is the angle. We move on to part B. They said the diagram shows a cylinder with a radius of 8 centimeters. So 8 centimeter radius of the cylinder inside of the sphere with a radius of 17 centimeters. They said both ends of the cylinder touch the curved space of the sphere. Show that the height of the cylinder is 30 centimeters. So you can do this in really many ways, but in my opinion, the easiest way is to take it like this. We know that the radius of the sphere can be even like this, or like this, or like this, or whatever. If you took it like this, it would be a right triangle, all right? So it is now a right triangle with hypotenuse being 17 centimeters and the, I don't know what to call this base over here to be 8 centimeters. Okay, and yeah, I didn't draw it to be accurate, but just assume, all right? So if I actually drew it to be accurate, let's just be more accurate. The radius kind of is over here, so it would be like this. It would be touching it like this. And if you were to do it from the other side, it would be touching it from here till here, like this. Just in general, something like this. So we have 17 centimeters here, 8 centimeters here, 17 centimeters here, 8 centimeters here. Now to find the height, you're gonna find the length of one side, and it will be the same over here. So using Pythagoras theorem, 17 squared minus 8 squared is equal to b squared. So you're gonna get it to be, so b squared is equal to 225. So radical 225 is equal to b, so b is equal to 15. So we have 15 over here and 15 over here. So as you can see, it is then 30 centimeters. All right, we move on to part 2. Calculate the volume of the cylinder as a percentage of the volume of the sphere. So very simply, what they're saying is do volume of cylinder over volume of the sphere times 100, very simply. So the volume of the cylinder, we know it is pi r squared h. So it's gonna be pi times the radius, which is 8 squared, times the height, which is 30, over the volume of a sphere, which is 4 over 3, times pi times the radius of the sphere, which is 17 to the power of 3. If you put it on the calculator, and don't forget to multiply by 100, you are then gonna get an answer of, just a second, you will get an answer of approximately 29.31%. Okay, we move on to part C. In part C, they're asking us for the volume of sphere in the water. Let's just read. The diagram shows a solid sphere with radius 6 centimeters inside a cube with side length 20 centimeters. The cube contains water to a depth of 15 centimeters. The sphere is removed. They need us to calculate the depth of the new water, or the new depth of water inside of the cube. Very simply, what you could do, you know that the total volume, it's a cube, or not necessarily a cube, it's just we will call it a rectangular prism. Okay, it's a rectangular prism. Okay, it has water of a depth of 15 centimeters, a side of 20. Okay, so now the total volume of water with the sphere, okay, with sphere, it is equal to, very simply, volume of sphere plus volume of water. To find the volume of water without the sphere, what we're gonna do is, first of all, we're gonna calculate the total volume of water with sphere. So it is gonna be length times width times height, because why? It is a cuboid, or they told us it's a cube. So because it is a cube, we're gonna take all of these sides to be 20. So this cuboid, this cube, has side here 20, side here 20, side here 20, and side here 20. So now, the volume of water with the sphere is length times width times height. Now, because now this is not a cuboid, not a cube, this is a cuboid, we're going to take the length to be 20, the width to be 20, and the height to be 15. It is equal to what? It is equal to 20 times 15. It's going to be 6,000. So now 6,000 centimeter cubed minus the volume of a sphere. Very simply, to find the volume of a sphere, it's 4 over 3 pi r cubed times pi times r, which is 6 to the power of 3. So 4 over 3 times pi to the power of 3 cubed, you're going to get it minus 288 pi. So if you subtract them, you're going to get an answer of 5,095.22 centimeter cubed. Now, they need us to find the new depth of the water, meaning the new height of the water. So very simply, it's going to be 5095.22. It is equal to the base, the length, times the width, times the new height. You just do division, so 5095.22 over 20 times 20. You are going to get the new height, which is approximately 12.74 centimeters. All right, now we have our last question. Question number 5. Okay, so in a shop, the cost of a fiction book is $X and the cost of a reference book is X plus $2. The cost of 11 fiction books is the same as the cost of 10 reference books. So find the value of X. So 11 fiction books is $X. It is equal to 10 times the reference book cost, which is X plus 2. So after solving it, 11X is equal to 10X plus 20. So then we move this here, X is equal to 20, so X is $20. We move on to part B. In another shop, the cost of a fiction book is $Y, and the cost of the reference book is Y plus $2. Maria spends $95 on fiction books and $147 on reference books. She buys a total of 12 books. Show that 6y to the power of 2 minus 109y minus 95 is equal to 0. First of all, we know that the cost of fiction books in another shop is $Y. So 95 over y is the number of books she bought, plus $147 over y plus 2. Okay, and all of it, she bought how many books? She bought 12 books, very simply. Now you just factorize it even more. You multiply, you make common denominator, whatever. After solving it, you are going to get this answer, which is 6y squared minus 109y minus 95 is equal to 0. Now we move to the last two questions. We need to factorize this. So very simply, to factorize it, they need us to show our work. How do we know? Because there's two answers for this. So for this question over here, we need to do the product sum. Using my calculator, I got the two roots to be 19 and minus 5 over 6. So if we're going to insert them, they have to be put opposite. So that means 6y squared plus 5 over 6y minus 19y minus 95. Now factorizing, you could take out common 6y. So 6y times y plus 5. Okay? And then you could take out as a common minus 19. Minus 19 times y plus 5. So factorizing it, you would get y plus 5 times 6y minus 19. Okay, now they need us to find the value of y. So as we said on the calculator, you can do mode 5, 3, so mode equation 3 or mode 5, 3. And then you would put in the original equation, which is 6y squared minus 109 minus 95, and you would get two answers, which are 19 and minus 5 over 6. Now, of course, it can never be a negative value. You cannot have negative books or, sorry, not y. Y is what? Y is the price. You cannot have a negative price. There is no such thing as a negative price. So what's going to happen? You're not going to choose this. You're going to choose 19. So it's $19.